Everybody, Honest Dad here. Wanted to take a quick second to talk about what's been going on in college football, specifically the misbehavior of fans and then players. With the fans, it's people throwing stuff on the field, tortillas, water bottles, beer cans, etc. With the players, it's two things. It's faking injuries during games, but more commonly, it's fights after the game. There was a big brawl this weekend between Ohio State and Michigan players, between South Carolina and North Carolina as well, and various fights. But I want to talk about real fast is how this is not going to stop, and there's essentially nothing that can be done about it, for one main reason, which is that it's almost impossible to crack down on the behavior of people that attend college games and college students, and that nobody wants to do that. So let's just talk about, in abstract, throwing stuff on the field during a football game, totally outrageous, not good behavior. You could hit someone in the eye. It's just disrespectful. There's no need to do that. What's hilarious and rich is the same people that will throw stuff on the field to hit players. If the players throw stuff back, which in my book is just fair play, the people in the stands will freak out and be like, oh my God, like he should be thrown out of the league, or he should be, suspended, or she should even be arrested, even though they're literally doing the exact same thing. So that's hilarious. But it shouldn't happen. Now, fighting after games is one of those things where I'm just going to be like, football is a violent sport. Like, they intentionally find people, like human beings, that are prone to violence in order to play the sport, because you need those people to hit. Once you're in football, anyone who's played football knows that they encourage you to hit. They encourage you to hit hard. They encourage you to mess somebody up. Like, that's the sport. So telling me that then a bunch of people that are trained to be violent are violent with the people that they're trained to hate, the opposite team, is just like, that's one of those things where I just kind of like, well, what do you expect? That said, I'd rather not see fighting after football games. It's not really productive. Again, someone could get really hurt. But mainly it's just, again, it's disrespectful. Win, lose, just shake hands, go into the locker room. That's it. You don't need to parade on someone's field. You don't need to not parade. Just shake hands, go in. That's it. It's just basic sportsmanship. America doesn't really do sportsmanship well, but that's my opinion on the actual substance of things. Now, here's the reality, folks. The people throwing stuff on the field is not going to change. And here's why. In order to discipline them, the NCAA has basically said, well, if you throw stuff on the field, we're going to fine the school. 100,000, 200, 500,000. The fans, the students don't care if their school is fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are you kidding me? They'll just laugh at that. All right. So the school is not telling them to do it. The school is not throwing stuff on the field. It's individual people, right? But okay, so that's not going to work. So their official plan is honestly just to placate people in the media from getting on their case. Now, what would be the actual only way of stopping people from throwing stuff onto the field? Well, that would be to use cameras to identify who threw it on the field and prosecute them, either kick them out of games or kick them out of the university. That procedure has been tested and proven to work in Germany and in England and lesser degree France, who used it to get rid of soccer hooligans who were disrupting games, causing riots, committing crimes, etc. But that was a competent government using its effort and taking the time to painstakingly go through all these people. And critically, the people that they were kicking out of these games were not core components to that game working. And what I mean by that is actually most of the European soccer hooligans didn't even pay for their tickets. They actually just jumped the turnstiles. So you were basically getting rid of people that didn't even pay, right? So there was no real negative. The only negative is you're going to lose people that have concessions, but the positive is you get rid of all these disruptive influences that tear down Wembley Stadium, that burn down the Bundesliga in Germany. It was good. It's a policy that works. It's a proven policy that is effective. Now, here's why something like that would never work in America. Number one, no one on a college campus in administration wants to crack down on the student body, because the student body are their serfs that they build their pyramid off of. They use the student body as both their labor force around the university, but then also as cash cows through the student loan pyramid scam. So if you start kicking students out of your university, like let's say University of Texas or Texas Tech, who's notorious for throwing stuff on the field, if you start kicking people out of your university, you're losing income, you're losing money. So no university is going to do that because they don't want to lose the income. Now, the league itself doesn't have the power to individually police, the NCAA police individual students, but likewise, they don't want to crack down on it too, because the league gets revenue share and portions of ads as well as portion of concessions even at these games. So again, the more students you kick out, you risk not only losing their income, but you risk a backlash from the wider student body who say, how dare you kick us out of our favorite sports team, our game, for attempting to assault the other team. So that's not going to work, right? So what's the only other force that could crack down on these people? Would be local governments. Well, the vast majority of college campuses that have the problem of throwing stuff on the field are in states and districts controlled by Republicans. Well, everybody knows that the Republican Party bases a lot of its power off of people that really like college football. And they've done study after study that says if you like college football more than you like professional football, you have like a 3 or 4 times chance to vote Republican. So they're not going to crack down on that either, because again, if you crack down on the students, right, you decrease the home field advantage of these teams. Then the boosters, who just also happen to be Republican donors, especially at the local level, they get cranky, because what do they want more than anything? They want their team to win. So you're not going to get any cracking down from that. And then if they do exist in liberal cities where the districts or the governorships are controlled by liberal Democrats, they are not going to crack down at all, because the universities themselves, the people that run the universities, slant so heavily Democratic and donate so heavily Democratic. So if, let's say, the governor of Colorado went to the fans of CU and they said, hey, stop throwing stuff on the field, it's wrong, we're going to prosecute people, etc., then the admin at CU would be like, wait a minute, this is Big Brother, this is 1984, don't come on our campus and tell us what to do, and if you do, we're going to stop donating to your campaigns, we're not going to stop walking for you, etc. So cracking down on people throwing stuff on the field is just not going to work. It's going to continue. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Eventually, there'll be a riot, and there'll be a point where they actually have to implement some kind of change. Now, what about players fighting? Okay, so that's even more of that same stuff. So all of these universities that have football teams, their football teams are cash positive businesses. The whole point of them is to make money for the athletic department, and then the athletic department is supposed to make money for the university. Now, when athletic departments do not make money for universities, they usually get closed down or pared down, specifically football programs. There have been entire football programs that have been canceled. UAB was canceled. My football program at Colorado College was canceled because, again, they're not making money, right? Again, it's almost always about the money. But no one is going to crack down, right? At the league level, because again, you crack down on the players. The only way you can crack down is by suspending them or banning them from going into games. Well, if you crack down on players, if you ban them from going on games, the team is going to be less effective. And who's going to get mad at you? The boosters, who just also happen to be your political donors. And for the NCAA, the boosters are the people that give a lot of the money. They buy the season tickets, they buy the paraphernalia, they buy the football phone, they buy the commemorative CU Ferrari or whatever. And so the league is not going to crack down on the players fighting because A, they're going to lose money because the teams are going to be less effective. B, the boosters are going to get on top of them. And then actually, very interestingly, there's a C reason, which is if you start getting into the video of who started the fight and who threw a fight and who threw a punch, there's all these really convoluted levels of justified force. And again, if we had a functional society, if we had a functional government and a functional legal system, it's actually pretty easy to determine when force is justifiable. So it's like, for example, if someone is advancing towards you and you're going backwards, you're justified in defending yourself. But they don't want to do that because that would take time and take effort, and because we have a completely dysfunctional government and legal system. So none of those things are going to change. You're going to keep seeing fights on football fields and people throwing stuff on the football fields. It's just not going to change. The system is just too rigged right now to, towards the powers that be that are going to benefit from not fixing it. Thanks. Have a good day.